It's back to school time and I am back to meal planning. In this video, I'm going to show you the yummy and nutritious vegan meals I prepped for the week and how to do it efficiently. This video is sponsored by my friends at Thrive Market. They are having their 25% off back to school sale for the entire month of August. So you can take advantage of even deeper savings at my favorite online grocery store. I'm gonna start with the red lentil curry. I love this recipe because it's super filling. It's easy to make. I'm gonna take out my Instant Pot to make it even easier. But I'm gonna start by chopping up all of the aromatics. We've got onions and garlic. We're also gonna need some ginger. I have my ginger in the freezer because frozen ginger is so easy to grate on a microplane or a regular grater. So I'm just gonna grate about a tablespoon's worth of ginger. Now that we have our aromatics all chopped up, we can measure out our spices. We are gonna need a tablespoon of curry powder and a teaspoon of each garam masala, cumin, coriander, and turmeric. That is a lot of spice. This curry can actually be made with red lentils, which is, the most standard. People mostly are familiar with red lentils. Or you can make it with split yellow lentils, which I love. Because they're split, they make an even creamier curry. Or if you want a little bit of a firmer, but still creamy, yummy, delicious flavor, you can use moong dal. Moong dal are split mung beans. I think today my mommy told me to pick the very best one and you are not it. Okay, you're out. I already know I'm gonna go for the moong dal. So I'm going to just rinse these under running water, get them nice and clean. We wanna get rid of any excess starch and also look out for little pieces of, little rocks and any debris that is often found in lentils. You just wanna sort through them, give them a rinse, and then this recipe also includes sweet potato. So we're then going to chop up our sweet potato and then we can get it all cooking. I am so happy to be working with Thrive Market again. They are my favorite online grocery store, especially because I can have my pantry staples delivered straight to my door. The convenience factor is chef's kiss, amazing, especially when you're a busy parent like me or you have committed yourself to weekly meal prep. Anything to make my meal prep easier, I'll take it. This week, I stocked up on some of my vegan pantry essentials, plus Baby J's favorite snacks to take to school. Thrive Market sells all of your natural, healthy products for less than regular grocery stores. And if you find it for cheaper, yes, they will even price match. And even more exciting, Thrive Market is having their first ever back to school sale for the entire month of August. You'll save 25% off on your back to school essentials. Everything from lunchbox essentials to snack packs, which are very convenient, especially for emergency snacks that you can take to the teacher. And that is not it. You can also save an additional 30% off your first order of Thrive Market and get a free gift when you go to thrivemarket.com/sweet potato soul. I'm also going to leave a link in the description box down below so you go and get your back to school savings. All right, let's get back to this meal prep. You don't have to make this curry in the Instant Pot. I just find it a little bit easier to do so because I can set it and forget it. I also included instructions in this recipe on my blog to make it on the stove. So either is fine. It turns out pretty much the same in the end. So we're gonna saute our aromatics and our spices first. We are toasting our spices, which inevitably means that they'll stick to the bottom. You wanna scrape them off the bottom as much as possible. And if I can't scrape it all off, and totally deglaze the pan, I'll add a little bit of water. Woo! And that will deglaze the pan for me. And then after that, we'll be adding our moong dal and our sweet potato. And then we're gonna layer the coconut milk and the tomato sauce on top, and we're not gonna stir it. We're just gonna close it up, let it do its thing, and hopefully we won't have any issues with it burning. Ugh, annoying. Now I've got more tofu for you. We're gonna move on to a breakfast recipe that I love to make. Of course, you know what it is. Tofu scramble. I like tofu scramble because I actually prefer a savory breakfast. I'm not gonna make myself a tofu scramble every morning, so we're gonna do it now. I'm actually using 2 packs of tofu for this also, so I'll have plenty for the week. And tofu scramble, it stays really well in the refrigerator. I'm just using onion, pepper, garlic, and mushrooms. Now that we've got our aromatics and our mushrooms nice and chopped up, we can take it over to the stove to cook this tofu scramble. Once that's cooked down and nice and tender, we'll add our mushrooms. Once those are tender, we're gonna add our scrambled tofu. To scramble the tofu, I just break it apart with my fingers. Alternatively, you can smash it with a fork on a cutting board and then transfer it. But honestly, using the fingers is the easiest way to do this, so I just do it like that. Then we're gonna add our seasonings, our salts, our nutritional yeast, and to give it that nice yellowy color, we're gonna add a little bit of turmeric. One last thing, we're gonna add some frozen spinach. I like to add a little bit of green color to my tofu scramble. Not only is it a nice texture and taste, but also a little bit more nutrients in this scramble that I will enjoy first thing in the morning. This dish is now complete. All right, so our tofu scramble is done. We are done with this now. I'm gonna open it up. So for the Instant Pot, you know, if you have one, you gotta wait for the pressure valve to completely release, especially for this recipe, which it has done. And we didn't get a burn notice. It didn't burn, it cooked perfectly, thank God. The key to efficient meal prep is being able to cook multiple things at once. That's where the Instant Pot comes in. Also, by the way, I'm gonna serve this curry over brown rice, which I'm also going to cook in the Instant Pot. But luckily I have multiple of these, you know, pans or pots, Instant Pots, this part, so that I don't need to wait for it to cool out, put it in a container before I can use the machine again. I'm just gonna take this out, put a new liner in, and make my rice. And that way we can do multiple things at once. Save time. I love to save time. I forgot the salt, but it's still delicious. Now we're moving on to a different tofu. We're gonna do our barbecue tofu. This is a 2-ingredient recipe. It is so easy to make. I sometimes make my own barbecue sauce, but today I'm just using store-bought. So we already have our pressed tofu, right? We are gonna take that pressed tofu and we're gonna thinly slice it. We're gonna put it in a storage container and cover it with barbecue sauce. This needs to sit overnight for the best flavor. Highly recommend doing it overnight. Now, if you don't have overnight and you need to eat some barbecue tofu right now, you can actually boil or sort of simmer the tofu in the barbecue sauce for 10 to 20 minutes and it will suck up that sauce. We are going to cook it tomorrow and I'm gonna pair it with my vegan carbonara pasta. And all this excess barbecue sauce and marinade, it might seem like a lot, but you are gonna use it to baste the tofu when you're cooking it. To grill it or to bake it, you're gonna put it down in the grill pan or the grill, bake it, and then flip it. And when you flip it, you're gonna baste the top. And then any excess barbecue sauce, because it's only been used as a marinade, you can stick it in the freezer and use it again in the future if you don't want to waste. We're gonna make the pasta in a moment, but before we do, I wanted to highlight another thing that I made earlier today because I had to take photos of it for the blog, but I made a pot of beans. Most kids like rice and beans. Most kids I know, even the picky ones, like that. And beans are just so nutritious. They're very, very, very inexpensive and they're delicious. They fill the kid up and they're of course super easy to make. So I made a pot of beans on the stove. I just added some aromatics. I did celery, onion, and garlic along with the bay leaf. And that's it. What I do with meal prep for myself and baby Jay, I alternate through the week for lunch and for dinners. So I'm sure we'll eat the rice and beans like a couple times for lunch and maybe a couple times for dinner. I don't know, doesn't matter. Any excess will go in the freezer. And I recently discovered these clever silicone freezing cubes. They're large. These are 2 cups each, and you can, I think, get them even larger or of course smaller. But 2 cups is a nice serving size in my opinion. I'm gonna leave the link to these down below. All right, now we can move on to our pasta. For this pasta, we're gonna need a shallot, actually 2 shallots, and 3 cloves of garlic to make the simple, creamy carbonara sauce. Now I'm gonna measure out my other ingredients like lemon, miso, flour, and nutritional yeast, and then we are going to cook the pasta. To make this creamy carbonara sauce, we'll start by sauteing our shallots and our garlic. Once that's cooked down, we're gonna make a roux by adding flour, just all-purpose white flour, to the pan. We're gonna toast that before adding soy milk, and together that's gonna make the base of our creamy sauce. Now to season it, we're gonna add some nutritional yeast, some miso, which we dissolved in the pasta water. If you forget to save pasta water, just dissolve your miso with some hot boiling water. And we're gonna season it with salt, pepper, and lemon juice to balance out all of the flavors. Once our sauce is complete, we can add the pasta. Because this is going to school with baby J, I like to send her with short pasta rather than long spaghetti, linguine, or fettuccine. So I'm just going to use this bucatini pasta, but any long or short pasta is perfect for this recipe. You can even use gluten-free pastas if you need to. And by the way, if you are gluten-free and you want to make this recipe, you can replace the white flour that I used for the roux with an all-purpose flour blend or even chickpea flour. And lastly, baby J and I will make some almond flour chocolate chip cookies. I always prep a sweet treat so that we can avoid eating highly processed junk food. All water and then pour it in here, all the way, a little bit more. Yeah, that's perfect, sweetie. Yeah, that works.
Can I mix it?
Perfect. And so you know that's flaxseed, so it's got to sit aside. You got to put it somewhere and let it thicken. We need 2 cups of almond flour. We need a teaspoon of baking powder, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Whisk it up and...
You need to really whisk it because of the salt.
Yes.
Even though there's not that much of it.
Just make sure it doesn't go everywhere. Over the sides, please. So we're gonna need 1/3 cup. So that's from here to here. I'm going to melt the butter in the microwave. Okay, so now you can make a little well in the center and add the sugar. You are a great baker. Adding sugar. Okay, go ahead. You can add the flaxseed.
Flaxseed, everybody.
Butter. And we're gonna need vanilla. Can you do 2 of those of vanilla?
Squish, squish,
Hold the bowl.
There we go.
I'm gonna add the chocolate chips.
Ooh.
Yeah. Okay.
Just control me.
You're controlling me. Awesome. So all we gotta do, what do we have to do now? It's all mixed. We should have turned on the oven earlier, but we didn't.
So, you people should do that.
We'll do it now, and in the meantime, we can prepare a baking sheet. We're gonna cover it with parchment paper so that it can go in the oven. May I get under you, please?
No.
This is our last recipe. I wish you could see my kitchen. You can see my kitchen. It's a total disaster right now, but it'll be worth it because I don't have to cook for a few days after this. So you're just gonna scoop the cookies. I've got a scooper here. Put it on your baking sheet, and then you're gonna press them flat. Because these are made from almond flour, they don't spread like traditional cookies do. So you're just gonna press them flat, and they're not gonna spread any further, so press them as flat or not flat as you would like. And then we're gonna bake them for just 13 minutes, et voila. You'll have delicious, healthy almond flour cookies. I've gotta put all of this food into containers and then stick it in the refrigerator, but it feels really good because now I have meals prepared for the next few days and even dinner tonight. You might have noticed that I didn't make any, kale salads, or I didn't make really any vegetables. I consider vegetables dark leafy green vegetables or like cruciferous. But the reason I don't usually do that on my meal prep days is I like to make it fresh, with the exception of washing kale. I just didn't plan to eat any kale this week. Just a couple tips if you are new to meal prepping or you want to nail it. I gave you a tip about cooking efficiently, making sure you are doing a lot of different things at the same time. But to make sure that your food stays fresh throughout the whole entire week, this is important. Make sure you do not double dip. That means, don't go in the refrigerator and take a scoop of something and eat it and use the same spoon to go back in there. When I was a private chef, it turned out that a couple of my clients were doing that and their food wasn't lasting the whole week, and I was trying to figure out why. And then I noticed one of them do it at their house, and I was like, well, this is why. You're introducing bacteria into your meal prepped food. So don't do that. You went through all this trouble to meal prep. Make sure it lasts all week. And also don't forget that freezing some of this is a great idea as well. Just because you freeze it doesn't mean you need to wait 1, 2, 3 months to eat it. Sometimes I freeze stuff and eat it as soon as, that weekend. I might have decided that I actually do want that. But it's best to freeze food when it is still fresh. So we have the curry, which I split between the frozen container. I'm gonna freeze this for later. And the other half I have for, maybe tonight. Barbecue tofu, which I'm going to bake on the grill pan tomorrow. My breakfast, tofu scramble, and our creamy carbonara pasta, super good. And of course I made some rice to go with it, and those cookies, they just came out of the oven. I'm gonna ask Baby J to come back and have a cookie with me. She totally abandoned me, typical. I'm feeling super good about all these yummy meals that I have prepared. We've got breakfast, we got snacks, and we've got a combination of lunch and dinner. This is gonna make my life so much easier this week. If you guys want to give this meal plan a try, I have linked all of the recipes down below in the description box. I also created a PDF meal plan with all of these recipes to go along with this video. You can find the description down below to download that as well. I'm feeling really confident about this school year now that I have committed to doing meal prep every week. So stay tuned for more meal prep videos, because if I'm gonna meal prep, I might as well film it, right? As always, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.